Hey everyone, I'm Naomi, and today I want to talk to you about headstand. Okay, the reason I want to talk about a headstand is that a headstand is probably the most commonly practiced inversion. It's usually taught very, very early before some of the other inversions, and it's often not actually taught. Often you're just sort of thrown into it without a lot of instruction or without a lot of support. And so today I want to give you a little bit more support in preparing for headstand and give you just some of the basics so that you feel a little bit more safe and a little bit more prepared to take this inversion, which can be a lot of fun and can be, really powerful to practice, but again, isn't frequently taught in a vinyasa class. I mean, hands up if you've ever been to a class where the teacher said, and if headstand's in your practice, go ahead and take it now. Well, I mean, if you've never done headstand before, how do you know if it's in your practice, right? And even more than that, how do you know you're ready? Okay, so in this class, I want to show you how to know you're ready to do a headstand, and also just again, some of those prep poses that will make it a little bit easier to do for you so that you can practice it more comfortably and safely. Okay, so what you will need for this practice is a block and possibly a blanket. Okay, so let's get started. You can sit cross-legged or on your knees, whatever more comfortable. I'm going to turn so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. Okay, take the block in between your hands, squeeze the block with your hands. Okay, squeeze it powerfully, and then bend your elbows. Okay, now as you bend your elbows, not lifting your hands up higher, but lift your elbows. Okay, until your elbows are about level with your head and the block goes right behind you. Okay, and then take your elbows forward again and re-extend your arms. Okay, now repeat that. Bend your elbows, lift your elbows up. Okay, hold it here. Take your elbows forward again, re-extend. Okay, a few more times. Bend your elbows. We're just going to add to this in a sec. Lift your elbows up. So hold. Take your elbows forward again, re-extend. Bend your elbows, lift your elbows up, keep squeezing the block. This is really important. You want to squeeze the block so you feel your shoulders working and your biceps. Elbows forward again, re-extend. Now we'll add. Bend your elbows, okay? Lift your elbows up. Now extend your arms as straight as they will go. Might not go all the way straight the first time or ever, that's okay. Rebend, elbows forward, extend your arms. Okay, let's repeat that. Bend your elbows. Lift them up so your elbows are about in line with your head. Extend your arms as straight as they will go, keeping your shoulders on your back. Keep squeezing the block. Bend your elbows again. Elbows forward, re-extend. This is really hard, I find. Bend your elbows. Elbows go up. Okay, extend your arms as straight as they'll go. You might notice, my arms are not going all the way straight. Bend your elbows again. Elbows forward, re-extend. Last time. Bend your elbows. Lift them up and back. Extend your arms as straight as they'll go. Bend again. Elbows forward. Re-extend. Put the block aside for now. Give your shoulders a little bit of a roll. Okay, that should feel like a lot of good work, a lot of good shoulder mobility and strengthening. Okay, you need a lot of shoulder strength for a pose like headstand and a lot of support there. Okay, and that pose, because this action is headstand, that's going to give you a little bit of a good warm-up. Okay, from here, come onto your hands and knees, come into table pose. If you need a blanket underneath your knees, make sure you have it. Place your hands as wide apart as your shoulders, knees as wide apart as your hips. And just do a little cat-cow, okay? Mainly to create a little bit more mobility in your spine after doing all of that really hard work. Okay, just rounding forward and back. Okay, and then from here, I want you to scoot your hands just half an inch further forward so that your arms are a little bit more on the diagonal. So instead of being directly underneath your shoulders, you have a little bit more space. Okay, then bend your elbows, take your elbows to the floor, okay, and then lift back up. So you're just doing sort of tricep push-ups here, but not like chaturanga tricep push-ups. Bend your elbows. So your elbows come to the floor, your forearms are flat on the ground, and then lift back up. Elbows to the floor, push back up, elbows to the floor, push back up, elbows to the floor, push back up. You're not really moving your hips, so it's not like hips back, elbows to the floor, okay? Pelvis stays stable, elbows go down and back up, And then one more time, elbows go down, hold them here. Squeeze your forearms in towards one another, and then send your chest towards the floor. Okay, take a full breath in, full breath out, lift your knees up. So now you're in dolphin pose. Okay, now this is the first one, and we haven't really done much, so your feet might be really far out. Okay, that's okay. If your hamstrings are already a little bit more open, you can walk your feet in slightly. But just know we're going to do a little bit of hip opening and hamstring stretching too. Full breath in, full breath out, lower your knees back to the floor, elbows up, sit back on your heels, okay? And then from here, interlace your fingers behind your back. Just give them a little bit of a stretch. Take them the other direction, take your head back too, lift your chest. Okay, now if it's too much to interlace your fingers, you can either put your hands at your hips or just extend your arms back without holding on to anything. This is actually a lot more work than interlacing your fingers or even using a belt, because when you're not holding on to anything, it's asking more of your shoulders. Okay, no matter where you are, lift your hips up, step your right or left leg forward into a lunge, give your legs a good squeeze. Okay, take a full breath in, full breath out. And then lift your right knee away from the floor. Okay, right knee comes away from the floor. Okay, now as you inhale, straighten your left leg, reach your arms forward. So your back heel might be lifted. Okay, and as you exhale, bend your knee, arms go behind you. Inhale, straighten your leg, arms go forward. Keep the core of your body really lifted. As you exhale, bend your knee, arms go behind you. Inhale to straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Hips go back. Exhale, bend. Core of your body's not changing. Inhale, straighten. Hips go back, but your hamstrings are working. Exhale, bend. Last time, straighten. Now I want you to, as you bend your knees, reach your arms behind you. Step your right leg up and lift your right leg away from the floor. Okay? Now you can take your arms out to the sides or take your arms forward. Okay, whichever feels better. You can also keep them back behind you. But draw your right knee towards your chest as close in as it'll go, and then stretch back. Draw your right knee in close towards your chest, stretch back. Right knee in close towards your chest, stretch back. Right knee in close to your chest. Your left knee might bend, that's okay. Stretch back. Last time. Right knee in close to your chest. Stretch back. Put your hands on the floor. Step back and put your right heel down. Okay, so you're coming into Parsvottanasana, sometimes known as pyramid pose. Both legs are straight. Right heel is on the ground. Fold forward. I mean, it should almost feel like a relief to put your hands on the ground here. Almost. Almost. Okay. Take a full breath in. Full breath out. Okay, another full breath in. Full breath out. Okay, last one. Full breath in. Full breath out. Turn your right foot out. Bring your left arm to the inside of your left leg and open it up into triangle pose. If you need to, you can bring your hand up onto your shin. But really, you just want to open up your hamstrings a little bit more and open up your hips. And inhale fully. Exhale completely. Okay, now bend your left knee. Reach your right arm alongside your ear. You can also put your forearm up on your thigh. I know my back is facing you. I promise that it won't be like this forever. But press your forearm into your thigh. Lift up through your belly. And then extend your left arm parallel to your right arm. If that's too much, you can put your hands behind your head. Okay, and then lower your hands to the floor. Step up. Forward bend. And fold. Should feel different between the two sides. Okay, interlace your fingers behind your back. Give your knees a little bit of a bend. Step left leg back. Put your left knee down. Lift your chest up. This is where we started, right? Okay. Now, lift your left knee. Reach your arms out to the sides so you're not holding on to anything anymore. And then straighten your right leg, take your arms forward. Bend your right knee, reach your arms back. Again, the core of your body stays really lifted. That doesn't change. Straighten your leg, arms go forward. Bend your right knee, arms go back. Straighten your leg, arms go forward. Bend your knee, arms go back. Straighten your leg, arms go forward. Bend your knee, arms go back. Last time, straighten your leg, arms go forward. Bend your knee. You can take your arms back out to the sides or forward, but I want you to step your left leg in and then lift it up. So you're in warrior 3. If you're near a wall and you need more support, put your hand on the wall. Okay? Give your right knee a tiny little bend though, and draw your left knee in towards your chest, and then re-extend. Okay, left knee in towards your chest, re-extend. 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 Last time. Left knee in, re-extend, and then step back, hands to the ground. Parsvottanasana, so both heels are on the ground. Fold forward. Okay, your right leg is going to feel super worked right now. That's okay. That's actually what we're after. Okay, you want to feel like there's more length in your hamstrings, but also strength. Okay, more movement there. Okay, now bring your right arm to the inside of your right leg. Turn your left foot out. Squeeze your right leg towards your arm. Lift your left arm up, triangle pose. Now if you need to, hand up on your shin or on the block if you have it. Okay, take a full breath in. Full breath out. Okay, then bend your right knee. You can bring your forearm to your thigh and reach your left arm alongside your ear. Try not to arch and thrust your pelvis and your ribs forward. Stay back, stay in your center. Use your legs as you send your hips down. Okay, take a full breath in. Full breath out, put your hands on the floor. Okay, step up again, forward bend and fold. And it might feel a little bit different this time. Now I want you to grab your block, hopefully it's right there. Place it in between your hands. Okay, and place it on top of your head with your elbows bent. Okay, lift halfway up and extend out through the crown of your head. As you do, slide your arm bones back and press your head into the block. And then come all the way up to stand. Okay, now this should be right about on the crown of your head. It might be a little further forward. Okay, squeeze your elbows in, keep holding the block. Lengthen forward. So press your head into the block as you go halfway down, and then all the way down, touch the ground, and then step back, downward facing dog. Okay, and then lower your knees to the floor. And just like you did before, lower your forearms to the floor. Okay, now this time, interlace your fingers. When you interlace your fingers, instead of just interlocking them so that they'd go behind your head like a basket, I want you to tuck the bottommost pinky finger into the center of your palms. Try to squeeze them shut. Okay? Then put your forearms on the floor. Okay, now all you're going to do is this, and you're going to do this in in dolphin pose too, but send your chest forward and then push back. Send your chest forward, push back. Send your chest forward towards your hands, push back. Send your chest forward towards your hands, push back. Okay, now press down through your forearms, lift your knees up. Send your chest forward, push back. This time, send yourself forward so that when you do, the back of your head goes towards your thumbs, and then push back. Send your chest forward so the back of your head goes towards your thumbs, push back. Go forward so the back of your head touches your thumbs, touches the heel of your hands, push back. One more time, push forward, push back, lower your knees down, sit back on your heels. Again, so just warming up your shoulders, creating mobility. Now before we go into headstand, there are two things that I want to talk about that are kind of important. Okay, first thing is, the way that you know that you're ready for headstand, okay, the way that you know that you're ready is that you can hold dolphin pose without feeling like you're going to fall over, okay, or feeling like you're going to drop. Okay, so we're going to do dolphin pose one more time, and I just want you to hold it. You can do it with your fingers interlaced, that's fine. You can hold onto the block, that's also fine. But you want to be really clear that you can hold dolphin pose with no problem. Okay, that's going to tell you that your upper body is strong enough to do a headstand. Okay, the second thing is mostly that headstand isn't for everybody, right? Like headstand, is a totally safe pose, but if you have fused cervical vertebra, meaning like the vertebra of your cervical spine are kind of like fused together, or really, really tight together, either surgically or just because they are, headstand's probably not going to be a pose that's going to be good for you, right? Mostly because there isn't a natural curve to your cervical spine, which you want. Okay, super important. All right. So if those two things are not present, meaning you can't hold forearm, like dolphin pose, forearm dog, or you have those fused vertebrae in your cervical spine, work on holding dolphin. Like have that be your pose. Don't worry about bearing weight in your head. Okay? And that's number one. Okay, number two is that this pose is really just intended to be a way for you to feel the ability to go up, right? To support yourself. So, keep in mind that, it's not about getting your legs straight up. It's about feeling strong and supported in your shoulders. Okay, so let's do dolphin pose one more time. Bring your forearms down to the floor. You can interlace your fingers if you like. Squeeze your elbows in. Okay? And then lift your knees away from the floor and just hold. Okay, if you can walk your feet in a little bit closer, great. If not, don't worry about it. Maybe even lift one leg up, doesn't matter which one. Put that leg down, other leg up. Put it down, hold. Keep your gaze down, more towards your elbows than towards your hands. Keep squeezing in with your elbows and shoulders. Okay, and then lower your knees down, sit back on your heels. Give your shoulders a little roll. So again, if that felt really hard, if lifting your leg felt impossible, keep doing that. Don't worry about headstand. Headstand's not important, right? Building strength in your shoulders is 100 times more important. Okay, now if you're going to do headstand, here's how I advise doing it. And this is just Shirshasana 1, headstand version 1, with your fingers interlaced and forearms on the floor, not tripod headstand, okay? So fingers interlaced, that bottom pinky finger tucked in, because that's going to give you a more even base, okay? The next thing that you want to do is put your forearms on the floor and your head on the floor. For me, because my cervical curve is a little bit less curvy, because it's a little bit more flat, I'm not on the crown of my head. I'm more like closer to my hairline, okay? And that's going to help create more of the curve through my neck, all right? Which is what I want, right? I want a little bit more movement there instead of flatness, okay? Because that's the natural curve of my spine, okay? So, forearms go down, pinky fingers tucked in, elbows squeeze in. I'm going to place my head down. Then I lift my knees up, and I've got to push down with my forearms as I tiptoe in. Then I'm going to take one knee in and pull it in and tight so I can lift my other knee up. Knees tuck in. This is what I like to call egg stand. This is where you want to be at first. Okay? Next step is to bring your knees together and lift your knees up so they're directly over your hips. Okay, so that means your heels are going to drop back towards your butt. That's okay. Keep squeezing your forearms in. Press straight down with your head and your forearms. Okay, from there, extend your legs straight up. So at this point, if your knees are directly over your hips, then your legs should go straight up over your hips too. Okay, take a full breath in here. Full breath out. Draw your knees in. Tuck them in. If you need to take them wide, do, and then one foot down, then the other. Knees down. Sit back on your heels. Okay? So that's how to do your headstand a little bit more safely. Now you might notice I'm doing it away from the wall. Okay? You can do it at the wall. I advise you to not take your feet to the wall, right? Because taking your feet to the wall is going to give you a false sense of security. It's also going to pull your legs over your head, which is going to take your neck in a kind of different orientation, right? It's going to give you more of a back bend, okay? You don't really want a back bend. You want more stability in your upper body to hold yourself up, right? The more you're back bending, right, the more work your neck and your shoulders and your head have to do. Okay, so you really just want to be more steady, more vertical, all right? If for nothing else, you just want to be an egg stand for as long as possible, right? Because egg stand is going to give you the most support. It's going to give you an idea of where you can be, right? That way too, if you need to somersault out, you can somersault out, no big deal, okay? You also don't want to like kick up, throw yourself up. Take one knee in, then the other. All right, that's going to get you into headstand a little bit more safely and with more support. Okay, kicking up, not quite as supportive. Yeah, so think of it more as like pulling in, tucking in, and then extending up. Right, so it goes in 3 stages. Right, egg stand, knees over your hips with your feet towards your butt, and then you can extend your feet straight up. All right, those 3 stages. Now, you can hop up if you need to. Right? So if your hips are a little bit tighter, certainly you can hop up into it. But again, that's a lot more momentum, right? Like pulling yourself up really, really fast. So you're a little bit more likely to somersault. Okay? It's just not as stable. It's not bad. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not as stable. Okay? So you can certainly give yourself a little jump. You can put your feet up on blocks, right? To give yourself a little bit more height. Like those are things you can do. All right? So that you are a little bit further away from the floor with your feet. But ultimately, you want to be able to lift into it as opposed to like jump or throw yourself into it, okay? So hopefully that little practice gives you a little bit of an idea of how to prepare for your headstand. You want your shoulders to feel a lot more strong, a lot more stable. You want your core to be a little bit more engaged, and you want your hamstrings and your hips to be more open so that you can get in as close as you need to so that you can get your legs over your head, okay? So headstand is totally a safe pose if you are practicing it in a smart way, if you are practicing it in a strong way, if you are practicing it consciously. All right? If you have any questions at all about headstand, please feel free to leave a comment below so that I can give you a little bit more support in making headstand a safer and more enjoyable pose for you. As always, thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this class, please make sure to subscribe using that button in the bottom right corner so that you can get classes like this delivered to your inbox every single Monday. And as always, thank you for taking the time to practice on your yoga mat and for choosing to practice it with me. It is an absolute privilege to share this practice with you. All right? So until I see you again, have fun with your headstands. All right? Bye. Did you enjoy this headstand video? If you did, and if you want more videos like this month in my online yoga studio, the Conscious Healthy Collective, and in its sister studio, the Collective Light, I am doing practices devoted to strengthening, stabilizing, and supporting headstand all month long. So if you enjoyed this class and you want to get more practices with headstand in them so that you can feel more confident in this pose, upside down, in your core, and just, doing the fun yoga that you like to do, definitely check out my online yoga studio, the Conscious Healthy Collective and the Collective Light. You can get the links for those in the comments below. And if you really enjoyed this, you can try these 2 studios out, one of the 2, for half off this month if you type in the code HEADSTAND at checkout. So that's 50% off your first month for an entire month, just to check things out and see what you think of all these other awesome headstand poses. So I hope that I will see you on the mat in the Collective or in Light this month, rocking your headstands. And until then, I look forward to being back on the mat with you really soon. All right? Bye.